Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello, and welcome back to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast where we are trekking through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, Mike Jones, and joining me today, let's hope his podcast setup doesn't collapse as we record. It's Damien.
I made the mistake of showing you guys exactly how precarious my setup is in here, and it actually sort of did collapse on me when I was on that live YouTube business a couple weeks ago. So, knock on wood.
Like a laptop delicately balanced on a book on top of a stool, like
yeah, it's actually
something
like
like
three
that.
stools, and the cords are kind of out of control. And one of these days, I'll have like a home studio. But here I am, nonetheless.
Our third member is running late today, so I'm not going to say my clever intro for her because she's not here to be offended by it. So she will be joining us later on. That's Lanita. But we didn't want to waste any time because our guest today is very important and busy. You may be one of his over 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. If not, you have to check out his Star Trek parody songs. Please welcome to the pod, Ian Ramsey of Star Rekt.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Nice to see
Hi,
you.
Damien. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to do this.
Welcome.
Well, you should know that we, Lanita and I, we had our first sort of public appearance, representing the pod at this group called Too Proudly Go in New York City. It's like a drag show charity group kind of moment. Heather Wood, who you might know that name, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I believe she reached out to me over a year ago or even longer, asking for permission to use the song. I'm like, absolutely, please go for it.
Yeah, well, we were sitting there, and your video, Chakotay's Love, I Wanted Janeway. We saw that, literally, I mean, obviously you weren't there. In your absence, it fucking killed. Everyone loved it. And I literally turned to her and I was like, we got to find out. Maybe he'll come on the podcast. And here you are. So, and also we saw you do Looks Like We Mated live at DNI Con, which was a moment. So we're familiar.
Filmed by Tom Paris himself.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was running around with his phone and
and he started the swinging, right? Yes.
Yeah, that was Kate was there to watch, right? She was in the front row.
Was she? I don't think so. I think because it was right before the Voyager panel. But I think everyone but Robbie was in the little waiting area.
Was waiting.
Off to the side. Yeah,
unfortunately, I'm getting it mixed up.
Just trust me, I would have loved for her to see that one.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah, that was wild. Well, Robbie is fantastic. So I am a Patreon member for the Delta Flyers, at a high enough tier that I get to do the monthly Zoom calls with him and Garrett Wong.
Awesome.
And I've been doing that for a handful of years now. So I've been getting to know them pretty well. And Robbie was very excited to know that I was performing there because he just flat out said that he was really looking forward to seeing it and to let him know when I'm performing, and he'll be right there front and center. And he was even more so because he hopped on stage.
I love it.
Yeah, Robbie's awesome. Uncle Robbie. Hardcore uncle energy.
So if you're willing, we want a little peek behind the curtain at all of this, because we sort of went down a rabbit hole watching your videos, and you got a lot going on at once. And so I just watched your It's Logical video. Please correct the titles if I get them wrong, because I'm speaking from memory. Let's get logical. Just logical. Okay.
Oh, it's just logical. Oh my gosh.
And then your little your sort of little note at the end of it that it was almost 2 years in process. And so that sort of hit home my assumption that there's a lot more than meets the eye that goes into all of this.
Potentially.
That
statement is true.
Yes.
It is true, but definitely probably not as hardcore as people think. It's probably not like, it's not like was working 2 years straight on it. It's like, it was more just like delay after delay after delay
Sure.
after,
Mm.
well, if you want the full story, here it is.
Here we
So
are.
yeah,
Please.
yeah, it was definitely 2 years because I recorded Logical for the first time, and Looks Like We Made It at the same time, back to back. I recorded Looks Like We Made It because it was an easy song, good warm up for the more difficult one, Logical. And so, yeah, so that's how long ago that goes. Like the very first recording was before Made It, even released on YouTube. But from the get-go, I had wild ideas for this one, for Logical. Like I knew, just because it was Dua Lipa, I knew I wanted to make it like a dance video. And at the time, my skills both with the camera and editing were nowhere near close to what they are currently. And so I just knew that, like, okay, we'll put this on, I'll audio mix it a bit, get it to a point where I like it, and then we'll just put it on the shelf until I feel comfortable that I can accomplish at least something close to what I'm envisioning. And as time went on, I started to like the lyrics that I had less. So I did some lyric tweaking once or twice. I only did one full re-recording of it one more time, and then there were a couple insertions here and there over time. But let's not to bore everyone, but I think it wasn't until like 2 months before the actual video got related that I like committed to it. Like, okay, I'm at that point now, editing knowledge wise, and what I have with my setup. That was another big thing. Is like with a dance video, I wanted to make sure that I could try and get head to toe. And
sure.
it wasn't until more fairly recent videos that I was able to have the space, the know-how, and everything to get more than just my waist up. So yeah, I committed to it, and I really like how it came out. I didn't want to pull any punches because, yeah, I'm happy with it.
Well, so like, and rewind here, because it's easy for us to forget that our listeners have not necessarily watched all your videos yet. But you're taking pop songs and you're re-recording them. You have a track that is the track existing? Where do you get the track?
I'm sure as far as like parody artists go, I do it the wrong way. Because I know the proper way to do it is to like either hire someone to re-record and recreate a full backing track, like brand new backing track that's just your recording.
Full
That's the proper
Weird Al
way, and I
Yankovic.
know that. But up to this point, just because I'm like small time. Hi, Lenita.
Lenita is here. She's joined
Welcome.
us. Sorry, La, we started without you. Press for time. And
So, yeah,
actually,
so
while we've interrupted, I realized we've forgotten to go around and ID our beverages.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes.
This is a cocktail hour.
Yes, we agreed in our sort of like pre-chat with Ian that we were going to turn this into a cocktail hour, which, I mean, you may be in your head saying, "Oh God, these guys are incoherent as it is. This is a dangerous idea." Well, we'll see.
Well, I appreciate that. Not that I'm a complete stranger to drinking alone, but it is better with other people.
Well, I should say mine is prepared for after the podcast is over. So this is the first time I'm having it during. I've made a nice orange old fashioned. So.
Ooh, awesome.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Quick little tangent. My grandfather, who lived to be 103, who was at the D-Day invasion, no joke. Like I just like honor and respect the hell out of him. He every single night of the majority of his life, he would have an old fashioned before dinner, just to start the evening off right. And so I had my very first old fashioned with him, and he taught me how he makes his. And the key ingredient there is, instead of using simple syrup or crushed sugar, maple syrup.
Oh,
fucking good.
I have done that before, and I have also done maple syrup with this didn't work so well, but it was a good idea, I thought. Bacon syrup.
Oh,
Yes.
I see where the logic is. I see where the logic goes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Lenita, welcome. Do you have a drink with you?
But I put some tequila and a
It's
peach Izzy in this amazing dented, not sponsored Contigo, because we had a bit of a tag incident. That is why I am late.
Is this
a
a
nice
like you were
skin
playing
tag?
tag.
Is
Like we
this
were
a-
trying to figure out what kind of tag you were
Are
talking
you
about.
it or are you hiding?
Right?
Yeah, so the dictator is always ready to go and was like made up a new game of tag, which ended in a goose egg forming over the
Oh.
top of his left eye
Oh no!
because he went over the bench and slid into the wall.
Trying to
You know,
hide quickly.
Nope, trying to not get tagged because it's like the
Oh,
rule
it
is
wasn't
he
hide
made
and
a
seek,
circle.
right? It was tag.
No, it's tag, like made a
Sorry.
circle, stand in the circle. There's a ball over here. I whistle, you get the ball, put it in the circle, then come try to get me. 2-on-1 action. Yeah, it ended
That sounds
poorly.
exhausting.
It is exhausting. I was like, we have 20 minutes, and then it always ends in tragedy. So here I am.
Proving our sad point that real life does not pause for our little Star Trek podcast.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
I was
But
ready to
also,
go.
if you're playing like these playground-esque games, especially as an adult, like, is it fun if it doesn't end in some sort of bumps and bruises?
I mean, I'd rather have the bumps and bruises versus, a tiny 7-year-old who's literally a goose egg. It in real time, Looney Tunes, bong.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I don't have any frozen peas. I'm like, where are the frozen vegetables? So
Are you a
Appreciate-
teacher, PE teacher? Or...
am I a teacher? Ooh, no.
I don't know what's the story
Who's the
behind
dick?
this tag?
Oh, this tag? Oh, the fact that my child is upstairs and
Okay.
it's okay. Welcome
She
to
jumps.
me.
She jumps in as though
I'm
you
trying
know
to fill in
everything.
gaps.
Your
I'm
buddy's
trying to
off
fill
the
in
bat.
gaps here. So I hear a grown woman talking about playing tag with at
the
least
dictator.
one child. So I'm like,
Yes.
okay, is this like their job?
Oh no! Oh no!
Okay.
That's not a good idea for me. Nope. But now I have a reason to drink. So here we are.
I'll jump in with my beverage. I am not classy. I don't know that I've ever had an old fashioned or a new fashioned. But so I'm having flavored sparkling water with vodka. So it's orange flavored.
So
That's
it's a
all it
vodka
is.
and soda.
That is
It's an orange
basic
vodka and soda.
Gay bitch is what that is.
Right.
I'm only a step up with my peach flavored Izzy and a shot of tequila. So it's what I could find. I was like, oh, what's over there at the bar? Tequila, pop the top.
Well,
I
what's
wish I
great with
liked
all our
old-fashioned.
drinks is we can kind of play 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon alcohol edition because I'm drinking bourbon. Damien's drinking an old fashioned made of bourbon, which has an orange in it. And then Mike is drinking an orange flavor seltzer water, sparkling soda beverage. And then boom,
Nice.
Lenita is also drinking something sparkly. So we're coming full circle.
We have
In the Venn
completed.
diagram of our beverage.
synchronicity.
So what
Okay,
I
let's-
missed?
let's
how long,
get
how
back-
long y'all been going
Yeah,
without me?
Mike Jones, get us back on track.
Oh, we started right on time. Like this train left the station.
At 7:30?
Yeah, because Ian has a heart out, so we want to
Oh
take
yeah, we
advantage
could
of
squeeze
every
all of
minute
this
we've got.
juice out of this orange. Okay, cool beans.
Yes, exactly. So Damien, bring us back.
Oh yes. All right. So we're talking about. So where does your music come from?
Yes. Okay. So, in a nutshell, I honestly rip tracks from YouTube. Again, I know it's not the proper way, but preferably, and I've been lucky that the vast majority of my songs, I've been able to actually find the actual instrumental tracks from the real song.
That's great.
And on occasion, I think only like 2 or 3 have had to do this, found a karaoke track.
Sure.
I
I
will
wondered
fully-
if that was the
Yeah.
shortcut. Yeah.
But also like all the tracks are fully credited in the description. There's
Yes.
no content
Yeah.
stealing and all that. So very, very, very sensitive to that.
And is it? And I'm sure there's multiple paths here, but where do you? Does the song generate the idea? Does the like, for instance, with the one that we're definitely familiar with is your Chakotay Janeway, which is.
I just watched it again.
Can you explain the joke? I
So
mean,
good.
you'll do a better job pitching it than I will.
Sure. Actually, that one's a bit of an outlier because, okay, so to answer your first question, usually if I'm listening to music and either I just like a line pops into my head or a title pops into my head, that'll drive a song. So like I remember a road trip once where Girl All the Bad Guys Wants was playing, and then I all of a sudden just like randomly thought of, oh, Trill All the Bad Guys Want, no better, Trill All the Klingons Want, and so just went from there. So I Wanted Janeway was more subject driven. Like I knew I wanted to do a JC Shipper song or just any song about Chakotay pining over Janeway. And once again in the car, I do my best thinking in the car. I Wanted That Way started playing, and it was almost like kismet. It was fate. But yeah, it's like I want it, and yeah, absolute light bulb moment.
I mean, and it's such a perfect, like the Backstreet Boys are so sort of like schmaltzy and like emotionally on the nose, and just everything about it is just like so is perfect. No, it got us.
So which came first? Was it your love for song parodies or your love for Star Trek? You know what I mean? Like, were you doing other subject matter first and then started doing Star Trek?
So I am a literally lifetime Star Trek fan. I have no memory of seeing the first 5 movies for the first time because my dad is a big Star Trek fan. So when I was just a little bitty baby and a toddler, I'd either be like sitting on his lap or sitting right next to him while he popped in a VHS of those movies, and probably my little toddler brain was like, ooh, spaceship, boom, yeah, I like this. And yeah, I just stuck with it. And then, yeah, literally lifetime. I came into this world as a Star Trek fan, as far as I'm concerned.
That's awesome.
Song parody wise, I mean, I'm a nerd. During the Napster days, I went hardcore into Weird Al. I found any and all Weird Al parodies I could find during the Napster.
Yes, Weird Al.
Even the ones that weren't even his, but of course, like Napster, everything was incorrectly labeled, so it's labeled as him.
Oh my God, are you the Weird Al of Star Trek?
Yes.
Is that? Do you aspire to that?
That, I mean, literally is like the highest compliment anyone could give me. So, and people have said that in the comment, and I take that title and badge with honor. Yeah.
Well, and you know, I mean, not to dwell on comparison, but I feel like also the other artists that you seem to be in the same sort of sandbox with is like a Randy Rainbow.
I've gotten those comments too, and I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't even know who he was until people started commenting it, and then I looked him up, and of course now I follow him on social and I sub to his YouTube. Like, he is fantastic.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's same. Like, you're laugh out loud funny watching all of this, and you're actually singing, which is very. I mean, are you? What is your? What is your background as? I mean, you're a performer of some kind, yeah.
Yes, for a good long while, I always wanted to be an actor, and I went to school originally for theater. No need to go into that, but I ended up changing majors to film with a minor in theater. And where am I going with this? But yeah, but singing wise, and I'm not trying to like blow smoke up my own butt, but no official training. I always tell people that I graduated from the School of Lawnmower Singing. Because I grew up in fairly rural upstate New York. And so my parents' house had a lot of...
Oh, yeah, where also from, I mean, not, I'm from Syracuse.
The Utica area?
Oh, yes, I know the Utica area.
Right,
I grew up in Syracuse.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Holland Patent?
No.
That's a no.
Okay. Yeah.
No, you got me. You got me.
It's teeny tiny. But yeah, so my parents' house that I grew up in had a lot of quite a spacious yard, and one of the regular chores that my brother and I would do would be mow the lawn. And so It's probably why I'm half deaf right now, but I would take my good old CD player, shove it in my good old cargo pockets back in the day, and blast headphones and sing over the lawnmower. And I will. I always thought that I was safe. I always thought that the lawnmower drowned me out enough. But then, literally after years of doing this, one day my stepmom admitted that they can hear me over the lawnmower, and I got
Wow.
so timid after that.
Oh no.
Well, it just means that you learn to sing loud, which is like
Correct.
a
Yeah,
skill.
projection.
Projection,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
But
and
also,
you're
you know,
doing all
so
of these styles, like you're giving us Green Day, from Green Day to Dua Lipa. I mean, it's like it's fucking impressive.
thank you.
The-
I mean, I grew up in the 2000s as a white boy rock fan, so like I definitely have plenty of those that I could do, but I do want to spread it out for sure. In fact, I've already done a couple pop songs in a row, and I have another one coming up, honestly. If you want the scoop, I can tell
I
you
mean, we're here for
Give us
scoops.
hot
Yes.
hot takes. Give
what's
us the scoop.
song?
Okay, breaking
Nobody
news.
else. We promise. Very few people are listening.
Well, then what am I doing this for? Bye. So the next one is going to be a parody of Starships by Nicki Minaj.
Oh my God.
And
Oh, that's
and it is
going to be
called
good.
Red Shirts. Red
Okay,
shirts
yeah,
are
I
meant
can.
to die. And that's all I'm giving you.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
That's another one I had to re-record because, good Lord, I'm trying not to
Wrap
be a
that fast.
stickler. Sorry?
Wrap that fast.
I try not to be a stickler for absolutely trying to mimic the original artist, but at the same time, I still want to try and give their original flair. And
Mhm.
Nicki's style is just
Bonkers, bananas,
absolutely
beyond.
bonkers. So
Yeah.
my original recording, yeah, was terrible. So I I hate to admit this, but before recording number two, I think I took one or two shots of whiskey just to like get out of my head.
Mhm.
Went into my closet where I record my songs and just went nuts.
Nice.
The other thing that really has gotten me up watching these videos is you have got to have some kind of like facility with the library of footage out there.
Mhm.
There's like all of these
Mhm.
little cuts of things.
Mhm.
Like there's this moment that really drove it home where you have like a little like half-second clip of Cisco like frowning and shaking his head, right? Which,
Yes.
I mean, I could, if you give me like 20 minutes or a half hour, I could figure out maybe what episode that is in because I remember that, that is in my psyche somewhere, right? But like the kind of facility that you have to have with like the visual library of stuff in Star Trek. Like, how do you collect this stuff? How do you find the stuff that works? Like, what is that process?
Um, so definitely when it comes to the movies, TNG and Voyager, those are the ones that I've watched the most. So
Right.
that library is kind of already in here. But I have also rewatched on multiple occasions TOS, DS9, particularly lately, so that's pretty fresh in my mind. And Enterprise. Honestly, I've seen all of officially produced Star Trek. And so yeah, so I'll have general ideas about images and scenes and moments that would work good with corresponding lyrics or moments in the song. But there is research involved. Whether it's just like literally looking up memes or GIFs like that Cisco one, um,
Mhm.
or on occasion, more recently, I have reached out to my Patreons on my Discord and being like, "Hey
Oh.
guys, so
Mm.
I need moments that have this, that, or the other thing. Like I wanted Janeway. I had a good chunk of moments already that I wanted to put in the song. But when I found other, again, memes, images, GIFs of the two of them together, getting all snuggly and close and doing their thing. I reached out to the people on my Discord and be like, hey, does anyone know what episode this came from? This, that. So there is research involved. I'm definitely not a walking Star Trek encyclopedia.
But
But you have
it
to
is
be a little bit, just because the fact that you can you know what you want, you know it's there, and then to be able to sort of okay, like maybe mine your brain, but also be able to you are a little bit don't sell yourself short, because watching these I'm
more of
like,
a public library, maybe.
okay,
Not
that is
Library of
fine,
Congress, but public library.
and that's
Underfunded.
fine. It's okay. You have a restricted section. Sometimes you've got to go.
That's not going into any songs anytime soon. Yeah, I'm confident with the Star Trek knowledge I have. Like, again, I've been watching Star Trek my whole life, focused on some shows and movies more than others, but I literally I try to watch through the franchise, at least the original or the classic franchise, at least once a year, to be honest.
Okay.
I will totally admit that all the new stuff, I'm way overdue for a rewatch.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Because I feel like I'm in danger of actually sort of forgetting early. In fact, actually, you had a video about Lorca that I watched, and I was like, oh, this is sort of the refresher that I needed on season 1 of Discovery.
The funny part about that is I know I'm in the minority here, but season 1 of Discovery is my favorite. I love the first season of Discovery, and I was Discovery's a great show. I really enjoy it, but I was slightly disappointed that it didn't kind of keep up the tone and the feel of the first season. But that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, so when it came to Lorca, I'm like, oh, I actually did rewatch this season. And then of course when I got the Blu-rays, because I need to rip things, watch through it again to also because that, yeah, there's more research that go into these lyrics and everything than people realize, because I'll have a general outline of lyrics, but I got to fact check them all, and usually watch throughs of stuff not only help fact check things, but also give me different ideas, better ideas, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I'm fairly familiar with the first season of Discovery. The rest, not so much.
No, it actually made it. I think you made your point in that video, because I watched that and I was like, oh, I kind of want to rewatch this. I don't remember how it all played out. And I also, you may agree with me, I don't know, was real disappointed that we never saw a Prime Lorca.
For sure. For sure. And I kind of closed the door on that hope when Discovery jumped to the future.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how they I know sci-fi is sci-fi and you can really pull anything out of your butt, but there's no good way to not only cross universes, but also 900 years. So bye, Prime Lorca. But yeah, the first season of Discovery, and in a nutshell, this is why I love it. Because it was fresh and brand new. It was that, let's do math, 12-year gap between TV shows, the JJ movies aside. So it was a brand new take on Star Trek. And I'm one of the people who want new content. I like new takes. I don't care what Klingons look like. I don't care what the technology and the ships look like. I want it to grow. I like Star Trek evolving. So there was that, and I really dug the style and especially if you rewatch it, they really do try to capture, even though they're telling a dark story, they really do try to capture the feel, or sorry, the message, the overall message of Star Trek. It takes a full season arc to get there, but that's what arcs are for. That's what stories are for. Anywho, and then you also have Jason frickin' Isaacs and Michelle frickin' Yeoh,
yeah,
sold. I'm sold. Love it.
Well, and there's something about a Star Trek story where the central character was not a captain, and that
true, very true.
That was a really fascinating thing to follow. Yeah, I actually don't disagree. I mean, Mike is sort of slow nodding, he's like, all right, I'm gonna wait for this part to be over. But I am on your side with this, Ian. I don't disagree.
I totally understand. I totally understand why people dislike Discovery. It is a flawed show. I will fully admit that. Yeah. So as long as people aren't throwing sexist and racist vitriol and homophobic and transphobic vitriol at it all,
Sure.
like if you have a legitimate criticism of the show, I totally understand. I have
Yeah.
them. Like there are so many things done in Discovery that if I was showrunner, I personally would not have done. And honestly, Jump to the Future would have been one of them. But it is what it is, and I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I think that's true for all of the series. Like there are things that, we don't like or we would do differently if, but that's the spice of life. I mean, it has
Absolutely.
to, and just to defend myself, I don't hate
That was not
Discovery.
an attack, Mike. You don't need to defend yourself.
But
He
yeah,
feels he does.
the first couple seasons for me, I wanted more of the optimistic, sort of utopian future ideals. And that's also why Deep Space Nine is not my favorite series, because it kind of questions like, how do you keep
There's a discussion here.
utopia going? Like, what has to happen to make that, work? And I was looking more for the escapism of it just works. So anyway.
Totally understand. And also I also understand no one says this that often. I had a friend, yeah, actually on in terms of like internet discussion, I personally never heard this. It was a friend way back when Discovery was airing like the second season who talked about how with Star Trek coming back to the to TV in such a long gap, they wanted that classic Star Trek feel, like Strange New Worlds. Like if they had a Strange New World, if
Yes.
Discovery was Strange New Worlds back then because of the gap, I think that would have really helped a lot of people. And then you can start to like experiment and tweak and do your unique thing. Discovery absolutely did mess with the formula from the get-go. And I completely understand why that really messed with some people.
I think there's gonna be an interesting conversation after the fact about the sort of order of operations for new Trek. Because if you think about the '90s Trek, it was just sort of like they rolled out one, and they're like, oh, this works. They rolled out another, right? So there was not really this sort of game plan for keeping multiple Treks going sort of somewhat concurrently, and like what the sort of order of and I think obviously once Discovery had an audience, they could expand from there. But like it'll be an interesting 10 years from now to look at like when the fan base seemed to really want legacy, but they gave us Starfleet Academy instead, and that was their logic, did it make sense to like the order that they sort of rolled all these things out and what was concurrent with what and what ended when.
It's gonna be very interesting to see not only your point, but also like how Discovery and now Picard and like the earlier new Trek shows are seen after we get like Starfleet Academy, the new Tawny Newsome, Brian I forget his last name, that new show that was announced, because they're really breaking the mold now.
Oh yeah.
Like Paramount plus
Oh, yeah.
CBS is really, really breaking the Star Trek mold outside of Strange New Worlds. So with all the new flavors of Star Trek that we have and will be getting, it will be interesting to look back at Discovery specifically and see if people soften on it, because it is more like classic Star Trek compared to the wildness that we've got with like Prodigy, Picard, and Starfleet Academy. So
yeah. And the Section 31 movie, I mean,
oh yes,
whatever that's going to be, it sounds they're marketing it so differently than anything we've seen before. So, yeah.
And yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm cautiously optimistic on that one, because once again, if we're talking about things that I wouldn't do, I wouldn't necessarily advertise it that way, and probably how they're going about it, doing like a Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy type feel. Once again, not really what I would have gone. I would have gone, especially if it was a series, with like something like Homeland. I wanted Section 31, starring Michelle Yeoh, to square off against the Obsidian Order, and the Tal Shiar. Like I wanted all these secret undercover agencies going at it in the dark, in the shadows, just like Homeland.
Little spy thriller.
Yeah.
Little Agents of Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. I want to ask you about your Hit It video. Um, because that was one where I felt like Strange New Worlds actually really lends itself to this kind of thing. Because obviously we get like the musical episode, and you like definitely borrowed from that.
Gold mine. It was
Gold
a
mine.
gold
One of the
Gold mine of
best
stuff.
musical episodes
Like,
ever.
it's
So good.
brightly colored, and they have these like they're not afraid of these like in character moments, and like everything feels sort of expressionistic in a way that seems like it is like perfect for lifting for your kind of content.
Yeah. Well, there's a good example if we're talking about like my own personal process. Some ideas can be like years in the making. Like I've had an idea and I don't even start touching it until like years later that's happened. But some of them are literally off the cuff. Another delay to logical was I had the idea for Hit It and I just loved it so much. I put everything down. I'm like, no, I'm doing this one. And I turned that thing around from idea to release in about 2 months.
Nice.
And do you work with
Sorry?
just like do you work with anyone like when doing this? Is like the quality is phenomenal. Like when you thinking about logical, how many times did you have to do the choreography from start to finish? Do you know what I mean? Like how who are you working with? I know you said there was a choreographer on that one. Is there always, do you have a regular choreographer? Is there someone who are you editing it all? Are you doing everything from soup to nuts? Aside, I know the research bit sometimes you mine out a little bit, but like, is it all you all the time?
For the most part, I am a one-man show, yes. I'll do
Wow.
the lyrics, the singing, the audio engineering, or the audio mixing, shooting, and the editing. Exceptions are, of course, the choreography. That was the only video that I've had like an actual choreographer, because again, I wanted to pull no punches on that one. Like I wanted that to be dancey. Especially when comparing it even to Hit It, the one right before it, where I'm just like awkwardly in the background swaying.
It's so good though. It's so good though.
Salutes, stuff like that. So
Awkward
that's the
swaying
best
is
I can
comedy.
do. And of course, like I'll show close friends some lyrics, or let people know like, hey, I'm struggling with this line. I'm trying to, like, this is my idea. This is the kind of the gag I'm going for, blah, blah, blah. And people have suggested lines to me. I'm like, good idea. And also, I'm not totally adverse to getting song ideas from people. My most popular song, Pretty Fly for an AI, came from somebody tweeting at me. And I'm like,
Cool.
This is brilliant. Immediately DM them like, please, can I use this? I'll give you full credit. So yeah. But I will say, I ignore most of them because that's one of the perks of being in my Patreon at the highest tier is like, I won't completely ignore your ideas.
Nice.
But yeah,
you,
to answer your question, currently, it's just me. I have.
It's impressive.
Oh, thank you so much. I love doing it because it does increase my knowledge of editing. Like to do like logical way back when I released my first video, or the first song, I would never even have dreamed of something that looked like that. Like I was just happy to dance in front of a green screen and cut in some Star Trek stuff. And as long as there weren't glaring issues, I was happy.
No,
I have sort
I'm
of
telling you. No, hold on. No, just because like it reminds me of like when people do covers like a Todrick Hall where it's like he's doing the multiple dances and it's like split between, and you can tell he's done like 5 different takes to get those 5 different motions. Like I was watching the video and I'm like looking at your face. I'm like, okay, this isn't just you copy and sort of pasting yourself 5 different times because your face is different. I'm like, is his hand going the same way? it's true. That's why I was like, oh, he had to have some help. Like, it's impressive. Like that you sat there and said, I'm gonna do this dance 6, 7 times to get, you know, change the position. I'm doing it to the left this time, doing it to the right. And like it was awesome. Go ahead, Damazon. So
I
I
will fully admit I take way too many takes. Like I need to stop taking as many takes as I do.
also your face while you're doing it is funny as shit because it's like you clearly get the joke of like why the choreography is funny and it's like so serious, but like
Mhm.
no, I love it. No, I have kind of like a life question, like based on our sort of experience doing this little podcast that we do, and um, how do you deal with like people in your life who maybe are not Star Trek fans who are like, oh, I'm so interested in like what your passion project is, and then they're like, that's great, but it's really cool, but I don't kind of. Do you encounter a lot of that like in your life from like the muggles around you? You know?
um, I'm literally gonna have to like travel back in time mentally to like 12 years ago when I first moved to
Are you
LA.
living in an Trekkie only universe somehow?
Well, currently right now, like I've been friends, like all my friends have known me long enough and I've been friends with them long enough that they all know it. So I'm trying to remember what it
Yeah.
was like. Because, okay, so I was, if you'll forget the term, I was a closeted Trekkie until I moved to LA. And I moved to LA when I was 25, 24, 25. So it wasn't until I started having coworkers and meeting people that were just openly nerdy about anything, Star
Yeah.
Wars, Harry Potter, Star Trek, what have you, that I'm like, oh my God, you mean I can embrace this? You mean I can put on my Facebook profile pic, me in a Darth Vader helmet with holding a lightsaber? Yes, I'm gonna do that. And then the friends that I met along the way, I do typically run in similar circles to myself. It's not like I'm meeting people who are completely different from myself, like who really
Right.
does.
Right.
And those who are, I'm no longer ashamed about it. Like
Right.
I'll openly tell people, like especially in like dating times in the dating world, yeah, I'm a lifetime Trekkie. Warning, like if if walking into your date's apartment and you see memorabilia and posters up the wazoo of a single subject freaks you out, that's going to be me.
it's the price of admission. That's
Right.
what that's what Mr. Dan said. It's price of admission.
Yeah.
Trek is coming.
Yes.
Exactly. And I mean, the right type of person that I would want to be with would
Mhm.
totally accept that.
Amen.
Well, I think the world is safer for nerds now than it was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
20
than it
years
ever
ago,
has
yeah.
been.
It is interesting that Star Trek specifically, because like we know the popularity of Star Wars and Marvel
Mhm.
and
Right.
to an extent DC, but Star Trek still is that
Extra nerd.
yeah, that
Mhm.
it's still in the
Dungeon and Dragon nerd of it all.
yeah, there's another
Sure.
layer. It's the under layer. It's like when you say, "Oh, I'm nerdy," they're like, "Oh, must be a Star Wars fan or a Lord
Right.
of the Rings fan or whatever." It's like, yes,
Yeah.
but also,
I love your voice. Your voice goes up. Yeah. And
Well, I think because Trekkies tend to have like a certain, I mean, as much as we can all be like sarcastic bitches, there's like a earnestness, there's a hopefulness, and there's like a sincerity, which is maybe less cool, you know?
it's so weird that Star Trek has had such a cultural impact on
Hmm.
society. Because everyone knows what the Enterprise is, or everyone knows the term "beam me up" or transporters, Vulcans, live long and prosper, all of that. Like that's a cultural impact, and yet it's still so unknown. There's like so many people that I've met over the years and told them about Star Trek fans, like, oh, is that still on? And then I tell them about all the new shows on Paramount Plus. I was like, oh yeah, there's like, well, back in the heyday, a couple years ago, they were like, yeah, there's 3 or 4 shows going on
on
right
right
now. And they're
now.
like, I
Exactly.
had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But
So-
but they knew about the Mandalorian.
yes, exactly. Apparently there's a leaf blower outside my window. Are you hearing that?
Nope.
No, no.
Nope.
Okay, good.
Not a bit.
Good microphone.
So
It's a
we
good
have
microphone
a.
because it's literally right next to my speaker. So I'm glad there's no feedback either. So
Oh no, you sound good.
Nope.
We have some sort of general Star Trek questions that have been provoked by our own experiences watching your videos. If you would indulge us some of those. And you know, and in this context, we've really named you a Star Trek expert, and we're going to rely on your expertise to answer these questions correctly, if that's all right.
Sure thing.
And here's
Am I being tested? Am I being nerd tested right now?
No,
Not at
no. We would never. No, because we watched enough
Damazon
of
is
your
testing. Yes, you said you're
This
a
is an
lifelong
expose,
Trekkie.
not an interview.
This is an expose.
Exactly.
This is a takedown.
Lifelong
Get ready.
Trekkie, sitting with his father watching Trek. We shall see.
I hate to say this, but when I listen to the Wrath of Khan soundtrack, I'm playing the dialogue and the audio in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
So
I get
that's
that.
what you're doing.
Well, actually, we've been on the hunt for a soundtrack nerd because we don't quite have the callback for it. But like watching Star Trek Picard, we're like, oh my god, there's so many like
season 3
familiar things. Like I want a map of like what soundtrack we're borrowing from at every moment. But I don't have the like facility with that stuff to know exactly what's happening. So
I had of course one of the big perks about living in LA is a lot of events are just like in my backyard. I had the privilege of going to the season 3 Picard premiere at the Chinese Theater. And I brought a friend who is a Trekkie, but not as big as me. So when those first 2 episodes were playing, and then all the Easter eggs and the references and the musical cues came out, I seriously like grabbed his leg on every single one.
I love it.
Okay.
All right, so male Klingon peeing against the wall. How many streams and why?
2, because Klingons have redundant organs, and Discovery made it canon. Screw you, canon nerds. Klingons have 2 penises. Okay, how dirty am I allowed to get?
I was
Very.
go because I
We'll
have many questions about Klingons.
Yeah, we're
Go
just
ahead.
starting.
Yep.
We're just
I totally understand why Jadzia loves Klingons in general and married Worf. Think about it. She got DP'd every night.
Yep.
But here's the thing: do they work independently? That's like, or is it just because you're ready to go? Are they both ready to go? And they're 2 separate bladders. Does one get off on something versus the other one?
Which is my urine stream question. Are you peeing? Do you pee out of one sometimes and one? Are you both? All the time?
Are they both connected to the same bladder? That's all I'm saying.
Are there 2
How many
bladders?
bladders? Oh my god.
How many bladders?
Oh
How
my
many
God.
balls?
As a bladder's an organ, I'm gonna say 2 because again, the redundant organs. Yeah.
So
Okay,
are there 4 balls?
To answer this question, my brain immediately just like went to, I hate to make this comparison, cows.
4 stomachs.
You know how cows have, what is it, 7 or 8 stomachs? But
4.
they can 4? Okay.
4.
And I lived in a farm town. How did I not know this?
How do you know, Lenita? Never mind.
How do you know?
Who is my child? Because I read an encyclopedia of animals as bedtime stories. Blue-footed boobies. Blue whale, size of jumbo jet. The things that are in my brain from reading an encyclopedia every night. Yes, they have 4 stomachs. It's okay.
That's amazing.
Good to know.
That is amazing, by the way. I love that just anyone still has access and owns an encyclopedia, let alone reads it. I love that. So cows can like choose which stomach they regurgitate from. I don't know. Can they choose which one they feed? Is that a thing?
No. I think that like when they chew, it goes through a different process, but you can like each stomach has a different.
Is it a
I'll say like
thing?
Yeah, it's like a stage thing, but also each one has different bacteria and whatnot to break down the grass enough so that it can be processed. I also know this because I watched some weird like documentary where they cut a hole in the side of this cow so that
I saw that too.
So they could check and see like, oh yeah, it's being digested. Great. And then they close it back up like a plug. Wild.
So upsetting. Anyway.
It doesn't hurt the cow. So go ahead. So we're thinking that.
So my theory is similarly where maybe like maybe there's a main bladder, and if like you really have to pee, like you fill it up too much, kind of like the emergency
Overflow
drain in
chamber?
a bathtub. Yeah, there's an overdrain that goes
Yeah,
into that
little
one. So
like the overflow chamber.
yeah,
Nice.
so like,
Okay.
okay, I'm good to go for a while. Let's have some more blood wine. But then you're like, okay, both are full. Let's go. But maybe like if like, okay, I know I need to go pee for one bladder, so let's go relieve that one. I think there's might be an odd combination of what they can and can't control, maybe. Or okay, now we're sorry, being really gross.
Yeah,
But like, say one bladder's full.
there's no sorries here.
Right.
Say one bladder's full and the other one's
Mhm.
empty. Probably the same muscle that lets you pee, that you relax to go pee, probably opens both, but only one's going because only one bladder's full. But if there was anything in the other one,
It would
so
go
it might
too.
be like, and the one ends and the other ones keep on going.
That makes
That
sense.
no, I buy that.
Oh.
I buy
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
you've
As the only
well thought out.
as the only one with
Official new headcanon right there.
there it is. As the only one here without an actual appendage between their legs. Do we think that they're both on the same side, or are we splitting the pants?
Ooh. Well, okay. Based strictly on Discovery's depiction, they seem stacked.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Which is what clued this perverted mind into the whole Jadzia DP thing.
You're not the first. We've
Right now, please.
Which to me implies that there's still a dressing to the left versus right thing.
And they both have to go the same way.
Yeah. Because if Discovery depicted the streams horizontally, then you could probably split them.
Listen, I don't have
Okay.
I don't know what happens down there. So
Let's just say that maybe Klingons they're efficient. They actually make use of the taint area.
they're growers, not showers. So you don't have to worry about splitting the difference.
It's
Okay,
like
go ahead,
the
Dame.
taint area is like, oh, what's with all that wasted space? No, let's add another dick in there.
Okay, so my question
It's a
is,
good phrase.
your I Kissed a Borg video.
Mhm.
A lot of people think of First Contact as being a Best of Both Worlds sequel, but we get the sense that maybe you agree with us and think of it as a Naked Now sequel.
Because I referenced Yar and Data.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is a continuation of that story, which we are maybe lightly obsessed with.
Mhm.
We've talked
Do
about
you
it.
feel that anyone is guilty of maybe some fuzzy consent rules in that episode?
Okay. Well, really quickly to the Yar Data thing.
Yes,
It's definitely a sequel to that because like it's a sequel to everything that happened in TNG. So
Of
Right.
course.
yeah. And he literally references it in the movie.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Fully functional
Yep.
and
Well,
programmed with
and it's
multiple
been
techniques.
what do you say? 8 years, 7 months, blah blah, far too long. And then yes, to your question, she goes in for what appears to be a fairly non-consensual smooch, but it's that gray area where it's like Data's like, oh, I actually like this. Okay, whoop. And then goes for it.
We have some
That's
questions.
probably not the most politically correct answer.
No, please, no.
Because consent is consent.
We're not.
I totally understand that. Don't worry.
We have some questions as to whether Data has reached the age of consent and whether
yeah.
Tasha Yar, as the coherent adult, is
that
guilty of
consent. I thought you were talking about the
advantage.
Borg Queen.
Oh no, she's
Well,
Borg.
both.
She does what she's gonna do. What she's gonna do. But
Well, okay.
Borg on a Borg.
As far as Data and Yar goes, no, I think that was consent. It was more physical implied consent, but the fact that she grabbed his arm, walked him to her inner bedroom. What other quarters have inner bedrooms, by the way? Never thought about that. And then like it was clear. It was clear. Like I know Data is not human, and maybe like subtext and implications might not mean the same, but even after the first kiss and everything, like he had time to say, no, I don't want to do this.
yes.
And he's not that naive. I mean,
Yeah. Especially when you're programmed fully functional and multiple techniques. You know
right,
what's going
exactly.
on. So yeah, Borg Queen, fairly non-consensual. Yar and Data, perfectly fine.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. I'm gonna pop it back to Mike.
We are running out of time, so I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire.
Good.
Crusher or Pulaski?
Crusher, but I do like Pulaski. Yeah, I do like her. I'll
Accept
I'll
that.
defend Pulaski.
Are you doing Worf's Klingon Tai Chi or doing leotard yoga with Beverly and Deanna?
Apparently neither. That face.
That face.
That was a
That-
boo.
That
Like,
is
I'd
that is a
rather be in
very
a play
good
with Crusher.
that is a very good Mary fuck kill question because I do find Worf's Tai Chi fairly lame. And and the pervert in me wants to be around Beverly and Troy. So
Right.
Okay.
also I have back problems, so yeah, I need the stretch. I'm going Beverly and Troy.
Yes.
Good,
Okay.
good.
Yes.
Tea Earl Grey hot or coffee black?
Ultimately, coffee black.
With a
Because
shot
that
of bourbon.
actually is what I drink in real life. I do drink my
Really?
coffee black, but I do drink Earl Grey as well. Shocker. Whenever I'm feeling sick or I don't want coffee, but I still want some sort of kick, I'll drink Earl Grey.
Yeah, I
'Cause it
only
has
like
the most
tea when I'm
caffeine
sick.
of the readily general teas. I'm not a tea
Oh.
expert. I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
like, it has a
No,
decent
it's
amount of caffeine.
It's black tea. It's strong.
Yeah.
If you had a replicator sitting next to you right now, what would you order?
Right now, another drink because I just finished mine.
Oh, there you go. Speaking of, who is your Star Trek bartender, Guinan or Quark?
Oh. Well, I gotta say Guinan because Guinan has the customer service.
Mhm.
If you're feeling down,
Mhm.
she'll notice it and she'll listen to your issues and possibly solve them depending on where we are in my personal episode. Orc, although would be a great time, and I'm sure he makes amazing drinks, would just try to rip me off. He's very.
Mhm.
They could be weak drinks.
That's true. That very
They're
true.
rail.
He
They're rail
reminds me
drinks.
of my favorite dive karaoke bar, where every single time I go there, you always have to double check your check because I've been double charged on thing or overcharged
Oh,
so
yeah.
many times.
Wow.
At Quark's. Favorite alien species?
Shoot. He loves too many.
Boy.
Loves
Oh,
too
no.
many.
Uh-huh.
Dumped.
Do you need to go top three? Look, look, he's about to explode. His head is about to pop off of his body. He's like, you want me to pick one? Top three.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing when it comes to like pick your favorite movie, well, that one's easy, Rothcon. But pick your favorite TV shows, blah blah songs, blah blah blah. Like, I'm the type of person who wants to get that answer right. So I need to think
There's
about
no right answer. It's your answer.
Right.
it. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna say Andorians.
Oh,
Good,
left
good
field.
choice.
Left
Good,
field.
good.
Yes, for the
Yay. I
Andorians.
love an Andorian.
Yeah,
My
Billy and
rationale for that is because my brain went to the obvious ones, like, do I like Vulcans? Do I like Romulans? Do I like Cardassians? Blah blah blah. They all have very specific types or or archetypes. But Andorians have shown a range of
Range.
personalities.
Mhm.
Not
They're
only
fun.
do they look freaking cool, especially the later you get in on
Mhm.
Trek lore,
Mhm.
a little hot-headed, but they're the calm ones. They can be emotional, they can be calm, they can be strategic and smart, they can also be reckless and dumb. Like they're very similar to humans,
Yeah.
but they look awesome.
Mm.
They
So,
look
Andorians.
awesome.
And we've got more Jennifer in store this
Underutilized.
season, we think.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Okay, last question. Are you Team Tasha?
That's why I
Or-
love Shran.
Oh,
Sorry.
Is this my internet issues that's causing this?
Oh, I think that might have been me. All right, can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Final question. Are you Team Tasha or Team Armis?
It's okay. You can say it.
I mean, no. Team Tasha. Because
Oh, did you hear Lenita
Say
really
that
trying to
with guilt.
recruit you to Team Armis?
I
She
didn't.
was
I didn't.
really
I
trying.
just
She was like, it's
no.
okay. You can say
It was his
say what
face
you-
that made me think that he was going to say it and didn't want to. But I realized that
don't get me
he.
wrong. I love a badass villain who just loves to fuck shit up. And he's super cool. Like that design, especially for first season
Oh, yeah.
TNG, is
Mhm.
super cool. So Armis as a villain is fantastic. But it still doesn't outweigh the needless killing of Tasha Yar, who I can only imagine. And yesterday's Enterprise gives you just the slightest little nuggets of what a post season 1 Tasha Yar would be.
Until you get Michael Pillar in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to have seen that same evolution of writing for Tasha as everyone else got, because like the story about her upbringing and the rape gangs and escaping from there was hardly utilized, probably because they thought they had time to do that for her. So if there was time, that'd be a hell of a backstory. And like her in utilizing her sister, like hella stories could be crafted from that fact alone. But then whatever Denise Crosby and or the writers start infusing into that character, that starts to grow and become a main thing that maybe we didn't see in the beginning. Like I would have loved to have seen that evolution.
Absolutely. Listen, we could keep talking forever, but I want to thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you? You have a Patreon?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. I really, this was so much fun. I really appreciate it. So people mainly, you can find me on YouTube, just searching Star Rekt, REKT, because I got to be hip with the kids. Yeah, just type in Star Rekt for anything. I'm on Twitter, not X sucks. Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, Twitch. Yeah, just type in
all the
Star Rekt
such.
anywhere.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
heartily endorse this, guys. Check it out. These videos
Heartily
are super
endorse.
clever and
Please.
really, really funny. So
You will thank us for turning you on to this guy.
yes,
I
can
wanna-
we please be responsible for your own
Yes,
having discovered
exactly.
Star Rekt? 'Cause it's great.
We are the reason you're gonna blow up.
We're gonna
us.
take that credit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I see a little tick in the views or the subs, I'm gonna take a screen grab and be like, boom, that was
It's
the
the
Hailing
HFO
Frequency Open
bump,
podcast
baby.
right
Yes.
there.
HFO bump.
Boom. All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you have enjoyed today's episode, leave us a 5-star review. We are also on podcast. We are also on YouTube. Check us out there or on all the socials at Hailing Freak Open or at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And with that, I will say Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing frequencies closed, sir.